enough that he might suspect her of being disingenuous. Mr. Asbury adjusted his cravat, touching the mother-of-pearl tie-pin, then smoothed his lapels and adjusted his cuffs. His prissy movements irritated. He was the one skittering about, but it was Philippa who felt uncomfortable. Pedantic and peculiar. But he, like most men, could be flattered and cajoled around to her way of thinking, and often in the end the men thought the entire enterprise their own idea. He ran his hand along his watch chain as if counting the links, rocking on his toes. He tucked his walking stick into the crook of his elbow and his thumbs into his waistcoat pockets. "I was not aware when I responded to your inquiry that you had, well, such a checkered past, Miss Cashel. I merely believed you to be the sister of the Duchess of Haverly." His face reddened. "Can you assure me that your efforts with these fallen women will be successful? That your behaviour and those of the women you help will be above reproach? I am not interested in having my name or my property attached to a failure, or anything salacious. If you can avow that the vast majority of those you bring here will leave with changed hearts and with enough skills to make their way in the world without giving in to their lascivious or baser natures—" Philippa clenched her teeth, railing inwardly against this prevalent notion that women involved in prostitution did so willingly because they could not control themselves, rather than the truth, which was that most women were forced into the life through sheer desperation because they lacked any other means of support. They were the victims of men who could not control their desires, not the other way around. As to his learning of her history as a former courtesan, she had never sought to hide it. She had earned a living by working in a disorderly house, but that was in the past. Thanks to the efforts of her sister and brother-in-law, and Aunt Dolly, she now had an honourable occupation, a purpose that added to society and would help many others, if this annoyingly fastidious man would only give them the chance. She calmed her voice and features. "We have shown excellent results in our efforts thus far. With the help of the Dowager Duchess of Haverly, Mrs. Stokes and I have been able to rehabilitate and educate nearly a score of young women who are now gainfully employed as domestic servants, shop workers, and seamstresses. We've even placed a pair of young women into service at Carlton House with the Prince. We hope to continue the work we've begun while adding more to our curriculum in the way of education, vocation, and spiritual nourishment." All this was laid out in the prospectus. Had the man even read it? Aunt Dolly, Mrs. Stokes to the pupils, Philippa's friend and partner in the charity, rounded the corner of the manor house, an eager expression smoothing some of the hard-worn lines of her face. Her lace cap fluttered in the early summer breeze. "It's perfect, I tell you. Though there are some much-needed repairs, they should not take long. The house could hold as many as 50 pupils easily, and the cow buyer will allow us to both train those with a desire to become dairymaids and to provide for the needs of the kitchen. There is an excellent fowl house for chickens and geese, too, and a walled kitchen garden that could use a bit of attention." Her voice held enthusiasm, something Philippa hadn't heard from her mentor in some time. "When do you think we might take possession of the property?" Mr. Asbury removed a snuff-box from his pocket, seemed to remember how vulgar it would be to indulge in front of ladies, and returned it to its hiding-place. "There is much to be decided yet. It has been on my conscience to somehow use this property for the good of my fellow man, or in this case women, I suppose, but still my mind hesitates. Is this the correct charity to which the land and buildings should be devoted?" Why on earth would he hesitate now? The property had been to let for months. If he didn't lease it to them, then what would he do with it? "I actually have another party interested, who wishes to use the manor and grounds as a reform school for children at risk of becoming delinquents. The gentleman hoping to start the school has a fine